and the accepted meaning of destiny is to make firm establish. So my guests and I bring you messages to establish what you need to know in the present. And also, I like working with angels and the calmness they bring. Now, in a moment, I will introduce you to my wonderful guest, Lisa Condon. But before that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching the show live at a later date, as it means a lot to me to connect with like-minded women. Now, if you've never met before, then my name is Ray, and I love to help women to crossroads in their life, heal their past, create their future, and transform the present so they can take charge of their destiny in the here and now. I'm the founder of Radiant Angel Energy, and I use future life progression, past life regression, angelic Reiki, angel oracle, cards, guided meditation, hypnosis to help women who feel lost get clear on their reason for being here. And I've also created several transformational packages, a journey through lifetimes, as well as a 6-week guided meditation series to help you take charge of your destiny. Now, each episode of the show covers various themes of your journey, a mini guided meditation or angel oracle card reading with the wisdom of my wonderful guests, like today's guest, Lisa Condon, about how by aligning your core values with your person and business, you set clear boundaries on where to put your time, energy, and resources. When you build it on a foundation of gratitude, you pursue it with joy. Now, for decades, Lisa has cultivated her leadership and inclination to help others succeed by partnering with individuals and businesses on creative strategy, marketing solutions, and inspirational development. This became the foundation for Lisa Condon Enterprises, LCE, a company that sparks inspiration, innovation, and collaboration through gratitude. Lisa uses a combination of theory and practices from the Project Management Institute, Six Sigma, Scrum, EQI, and appreciative inquiry. She's a certified Six Sigma Black Belt Scrum Master, certified Scrum Product Owner, and PMP. I'm going to have to find out what those are. Author of the soon to be released book, Sparking Your Business 9 Steps of Gratitude. Lisa is the founder and creator of Gratitude, a propriety program and catalyst for personal change. Now, with testimonials such as the beauty of what Lisa does is not just in her ability to create streamlined process, but lies in her ability to understand people and how to merge these understandings into dynamic business strategies. And Lisa is a fantastic business mentor and partner. She dove into my business with me and continues to dive on a monthly basis and creates solid action plans, has insightful comments about team members and dynamics, and always brings additional perspective to my busy world. So without further delay, hello Lisa and welcome to the Angels and Destiny show. How are you today?
Ray, I am wonderful. I am so grateful to be here. And I didn't know you were going to pull out some of those testimonials. That's uh, helping people find and create change. It really is what sparks me. So wasn't expecting that. So thank you for having me. And I just want to say hi to Mary and Graham and Teresa. Thank you for joining us. So happy to be here.
Yeah, brilliant. Yep. So before we get into the sophisticated conversation, I want to remind you that not only can you share this video, but you can also ask questions, leave comments and thoughts, as both Mary, Graham, and Teresa are doing at the moment. Because both Lisa and I want you to be part of this conversation. So please do not be shy. So, Lisa, why don't you tell us more about your journey and why we should see the value of gratitude?
Absolutely. So my journey started probably about 20 years ago. And it really started from a business perspective in that I was in the corporate world. And I like to say I was growing up professionally in the corporate world. And at one point, something just wasn't feeling right. And I didn't know why. I didn't know what it was. And then I ended up going to this leadership program after a few years. And I ended up doing this value card exercise. And all of a sudden, learning my own core values, I went, oh, well, here's why. They just don't align. And, and I think one of the precipices for me was I was in the newspaper industry and I was leading a call center or a classified center, and I had call center reps. And there was a period of time where they basically got a windfall of employment ads that had come in, and these reps were going to make a lot of money. And there was no cap on their goals. And the publisher walked down and said, we can't pay them. And so I couldn't believe that he was saying this. So ultimately, we ended up paying them. We changed what the program was later for their goals and how they got compensated. But the fact that I had to fight and fight pretty hard and have some pretty significant words to ultimately get them paid, I knew that I was not in alignment, and my value system is all about integrity, and creativity. So it was at that moment that I knew something wasn't right. Then I had that exercise and everything started to click. And what I ultimately learned now, years later, is that when you find out what your value system is, then it gives you boundaries from which to say yes and how to say no to things, both personally and professionally. But I think the really aha moment for me was about 13 years ago. A friend of mine had started posting 3 things she was grateful for on Facebook. And I was like, oh, I like this. So I actually adopted that. I emailed her and said, hey, can I steal this from you? And so I started doing it. And the most miraculous things started happening with a mind shift and how you saw things and the lens from which you saw things. And I talk a lot about something called your foundational garden. And it's, what are you watering in your own foundational garden? And are you watering the things that bring you joy and happiness and allow you to align with your core values? Or are you watering the things that people have said negatively to you over the years, or things that have happened in your childhood that you can't necessarily let go of? So what are you watering and cultivating? And as I started truly practicing gratitude, and I have a practice I do every single morning that I've been doing now for 11 years, and it has changed everything for me. So I want to give that back to the world so people can understand how living in this deep gratitude can really make a difference. I'm living proof of it. And it's not just in the Harvard studies, right? It's like, it's actually true.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I do a gratitude practice. Every night before I go to sleep, I list what I'm grateful for the day.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I love that you do it at night, because I get asked a lot, when should I practice gratitude? Well, you practice gratitude when it makes sense for you to practice it. For me, I build it into my morning routine, because then it starts my day on a really grateful path. And there are times, I mean, we all mess up. There are times where it doesn't happen until a little bit later in the day for me, but I can feel the difference if I don't start my day that way. But that's where, and I get up super early too. I'm usually up at 4 in the morning. So for me, it's kind of that twilight time. But whenever it makes sense for you and it feels right to take that time, and I know you do a meditation practice quite a bit, right? And it's whenever that time is right to sit in silence, to look inward, to really understand what you are grateful for in those moments, and really live and breathe in that.
Yeah, and I also try to if I'm having to spend money, and that I try and be grateful to the money I'm spending. Like if I have to pay a bill, I'm grateful that I've got the money to pay for my heating, so that I've got some warmth in my house. I'm
Mm-hmm.
grateful that I've bought that coffee today because it warms me up. I just try, if I can, when I remember. I'm not brilliant at it, and I can go through a whole day without doing it. But then other days I'll literally grateful for everything.
Mm-hmm. But I love what you're saying there too. And I want to use the coffee example, because I think there's also different types of gratitude that you can practice. And one is being grateful for the coffee itself. But there's also the what is it that it's done that brings you this gratitude? And it has brought you warmth, or maybe it brought you comfort in a moment when you needed that comfort. I go back and I post my gratefuls every day, and I go back and look, and I tend to post, I live on the ocean. I tend to post about the dolphins a lot when they come up, but it's because in the moments that I need them, they show up.
Yeah.
And I think that lends itself back to, in general, I really believe the universe always gives you what you need in the moments that you need it. And so while sometimes the dolphin might be because I'm experiencing some sadness because of grief, or whatever that moment is, it just brings me back to being centered with the universe and the earth. Other times it's just about complete joy. And what's interesting is, at the times when I just need the joy, the dolphins are jumping. Other time, and it's just interesting that if you really pay attention to What really is bringing you that feeling? Um, and actually, so I'm reading what some of your viewers are saying, and I love the life is always about giving within the new boundaries. And I love that. And so, Reverend Graham, thank you for saying that, because I completely agree with you. Your boundaries tend to shift and ebb and flow depending on where you are. And, not only will the universe give you what you need, but it also meets you where you're at and what you're able to handle at that time. And so sometimes grateful can be just about the basics in front of you, and sometimes it really can go deep. It's really up to where you're at in that moment.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and Graham says, I agree with you. Life is all about giving within the new boundaries. And
Mm-hmm.
he also says he was never able to understand to what extent he was always grateful, just that he became a lot freer from it.
Mm-hmm. And that's really true, because I think you start letting go of perceptions and I always say, please don't should all over yourself. It's really about here's where you're at, and being kind to yourself and giving yourself grace in the moments of which you're living, because we're not perfect, we're humans, but it's always progress over perfection. And if you can move forward with that progress in this deep sense of just pure happiness and gratitude, it's a beautiful place to be. And then people become attracted to that, and you bring in the people in your sphere that you're really meant to be around. And just think, if you're giving light and gratitude, how that can grow and grow and grow, because that's what you're emanating. It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful.
It is, and Susan says that she got this message strong today about gratitude, and there we're
Ooh,
doing the show on gratitude.
I love it. Susan, I want to hear more about that. You should post your message about gratitude if you would be willing to. I'd like to hear about that. I think, again, paying attention to the messages too that come forward. It's That's where I think the most gratitude comes from, because you pay attention and you're open to what's coming. And that's actually what made me start doing my morning practice that includes gratitude, because it made me very cognizant of whatever. So I pull angel cards every morning. And then I also pull a goddess card every morning, and then I have my gratitude. But it opens me up, and it's very interesting how the themes all tend to resonate together, and then I'm paying attention for that throughout the day. And it's not like I'm making it up or shifting anything. It's just that's the message I'm supposed to receive, and how that, yes, synchronicity for sure. And that's exactly how it ties together. And then that takes me really to the journey of the next day, and then how does that tie together? And again, living in that path of gratitude. Sometimes I say it's really the yellow brick road to Oz, as you're living in gratitude. Oh, goodness.
The trouble is, I've now seen Wicked, so the Yellow Brick
I
Road.
just saw that this weekend, Ray. Yes, I know. I can't say it anymore.
I know it's kind of like you look at the Wizard of Oz in a completely different light now.
I know. I know. I can't.
Yeah,
But
you can't undo it now.
can't undo it. What I have seen cannot be unseen. However, I mean, if you think about that too, here's this wicked witch at once upon a time was truly living in this beautiful bliss and saw all the good and tried to do the good. So yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah. The book's quite good as well. It's a little bit more depth in the book, and apparently there's a second book, but I never got around to reading that. But that's kind of like taking us off topic. But yeah, that there was if you look at Wicked, there was gratitude
Hmm.
um, in that. In fact, I think if you were to look at any show, you can find gratitude. That somewhere in that musical, in that show, there is gratitude. Somewhere along the line, there is gratitude, whether it's the heroine, the hero.
Hmm.
In it, that there always seems to be the underlining thing of gratitude somewhere in there.
Hmm. There really does. But also what I found so interesting, and I think this applies to all of us, is what's the lens in which you're looking at something? And I think we all have opportunities as things come up in our lives, whether it's personal or business. And really, how are you looking at it? Are you looking at it from the side that makes the most sense for you, or are you just taking it as it is, or is there a lesson to be learned from it? And something that, again, it's kind of weird that we're talking about Wicked. I think it's so interesting. But one of the things that stood out to me was, for those of you that haven't seen it, this might be a little bit of a spoiler, sorry.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
But there's the part with the baby lion cub, and then later on, the blame on Alphaba saying, you, because you helped me and you didn't let me learn on my own, that's why I don't have any courage and I fear everything. That just struck me, because I think we experience that in, really, how are we leaning into others, and how are we looking at things, and do we have the opportunity, again, with gratitude being the foundation, can we switch that, and can we look at things a little bit differently, and how can we turn it into a positive, including just, maybe it's a lesson learned if somebody hurts you. Well, what's the lesson that you can learn to then take forward to somebody else, and use it differently? It's something that I've had to do many times throughout my life, and I, unfortunately, I've had some trauma. I think many of us have dealt with different things that have hurt us over the years, but it's, how do you take that and turn it and use it in a way of good?
Yeah. Okay. So Susan says, that I felt a deep sadness today as here in the Netherlands went back into full lockdown. It felt bigger than my own. I got in a Zoom call this morning and all the tears came out. My group was amazing and held the space. One member talked about how we can focus on being grateful for the things that we may take advantage, like being healthy. It really helped me see how much I'm supported. It shifted everything. That shows the power of gratitude. Thank you for sharing, Susan. That's
Wow.
beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, and we hold the space for you for that. What your what's happening over in the Netherlands at the moment.
Yeah, Susan, thank you for being vulnerable to share that. I think, you know, many through this lockdown over the course of time, um, and I've heard it said by a multitude of people, where really, more so than the pandemic, is the mental struggles that a lot of us go through, whether it's from loneliness or what maybe people are dealing with in their households that they haven't had to deal with before, and all of that type of strife. And it's tough. I know I dealt with it myself, and it's, so I applaud you for being able to actually talk to your group and say something, and even just knowing that that support was there. How beautiful. And I'm, thank you very much, because I don't think you're alone in that boat, and feeling somewhat hopeless. And in the course of this, I'm grateful that you had that cohort of people that you can lean into and know that you can trust them. That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. And Graham says that he's grateful that this mindset enables him not to be negative, which
Hmm.
again, gratitude can turn a negative into a positive.
Absolutely. It really can. And again, I think that goes back to the lens in which you look at things. And it goes back to, what are you watering in your foundational garden? And I know for myself, I have a whiteboard right next to me, and I have certain sayings that I've put up there, and I keep them there because there are times where you just have to remind yourself that these are the things, these are the values that I have. This is why I'm living my life the way that I'm living my life. Here's how I'm connecting with community. Here's how I'm connecting with my family. Here's how I'm connecting with myself. And, taking that time to fill your own cup and to inspire yourself, and then it allows you to, in turn, give back to everybody else. I mean, Ray, I'm sure you have to do it. You talk to people all day long, so you are
Yeah.
giving, giving, giving of yourself. And I'm sure you take your own practice to really refill, recharge, refuel. At least I'm
Oh,
hoping you do.
oh, I do. I learned that lesson a long, long time ago. And that, oh yes,
Mhm.
in between clients, I make sure that I bring myself back and sort of like refocus again,
Mhm.
and call in the energy of the universe, Gaia, the elements, the angels, ready to work with the next client. I'm so grateful that they're there. I'm so grateful to my spiritual light working team, who are always there supporting me and giving me the strength and the guidance to do what I do. So yeah, so you can be grateful not just for things in the physical form,
Right.
but things in the spiritual form or the universal form, energy form.
Absolutely. And I, so I have always, wow, what, like you said, you never know the roads we're going to go down on this conversation. So I have always had an intuition that's been pretty stellar. And I kind of turned that off for a really long time. And once I started the practice of gratitude, guess what? The universe wouldn't let me forget that I had this. And the more that I practice and the more that I deepen my connection with gratitude and with the universe, the more that that opens up. Um, and what a gift, what a beautiful, beautiful gift. And I never really looked at it that way till a few years ago, where I really can use it to help people and help others. And I'm looking at what Reverend Graham is saying, that it enables people to look at things they need and not what they want. Absolutely, because you do need things that you don't even realize you need, and oftentimes it really is not material. It really usually is time, energy, space, whether it's from somebody else or whether, again, it's from your spirit guides, your angels, your universe, whatever that looks like. And I also completely agree. It doesn't mean you're not grounded. I actually think those individuals who practice gratitude and are in tune with gratitude probably are more grounded because they're more connected with, the whole of who we are. And that's pretty special. And if you ever really want to get grounded in gratitude, go walk in the grass without any shoes on, or go walk in the sand without any shoes on, and really feel that connection. And it will just overflow you with what you truly are grateful for in your world and in your life.
Yeah. And Jane says, just had a conversation about being grateful for all the good in 2021.
I love it. Yeah, and that's the thing. There is, I think, even through pandemic and through hardship, and I'm using pandemic, but let's face it, hardships can happen anytime. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be through a pandemic. But when you are able to look back and reflect on the things that have happened in that period of time, maybe it's lessons learned. Maybe it's how you emerged out the other side of whatever it is that occurred. There is something truly deep and meaningful to be grateful about within that experience. And, sometimes we as humans, we're all human, and we can get stuck in somewhere. And some people call it victim mentality. That's a term I don't really love, but
No.
again, it is something that people liken it to. But the reality is it's not. It means that, to me, you just have to find the ways to move you through. And I think some of the ways to move you through are really embracing and hugging and loving on yourself and finding that support team to love you. But again, finding where those things that you can be grateful for. And sometimes it takes time to find what those are. But once you do, hold on to those and reflect on those and celebrate those, and then move you through to that next phase and to that next stage.
Yeah. And Jane says, it's difficult to not focus on the positive if you're not careful.
Yes, that's that's very true. I think we all can. When you start spiraling because you're like, oh, I wish I had done this. I mean, have you ever you've had a conversation with somebody, it didn't go the way you wanted it to go, and then in the middle of the night, you wake up thinking of the 30 things you should have said differently?
Yeah.
I mean, we've all been there, right? But the reality is the conversation went the way it was supposed to go. So looking at it through a different lens and through a sense of gratitude and what did I learn and what's the lesson I learned, and maybe the lesson is you have to go back and apologize because you said something you shouldn't have said. And how do you do that? But maybe the lesson is to have heard them differently and taking in that sense of that conversation and replaying it in a way that, oh, maybe they actually meant X, Y, and Z, whatever that looks like. But it's taking that breath and that step and switching the lens. And that's part of what gratitude does, is your mind will start to shift first on how you see things. And all of a sudden, rather than seeing things, and whether it's pessimistically or seeing things optimistically, it's actually not about that. It's actually being in the space and embracing whatever it is that's given to you.
Yeah. Yeah, and Graham says, the pandemic has become a pivotal point, within the within the balance,
Hmm.
about it. And yeah, there were loads of things that that we could be grateful for that did happen, um,
Hmm.
during the pandemic, and acceptance, of knowing that you have the choice once something is thrust into your consciousness.
And I think and that's a very good point. I think people forget that there is a choice in it. And there's a choice in how we take information in, and there's a choice in how we react to it. And and again, it's grounding yourself in that space of gratitude and grounding yourself in that space of joy and happiness, and then reacting to something. And it takes time and practice, and nobody's perfect at it. Nobody's perfect at it.
No, no. If we were, we wouldn't be here. We'd have
Right?
ascended.
Exactly. But what a wonderful lesson. I'd rather be learning those lessons and about myself and about others than some of the lessons I probably could learn if I weren't grounded in that. And I it's it just makes for a more joyful life. And again, even from a business perspective, when you really align your business with your core values and you can ground a business in this gratitude practice or this sense of gratitude, your employees feel it, your stakeholders feel it, your clients feel it, your vendors feel it, and people want to work with happy people. And so what does that do if you think about it? That's going to also hit your bottom line if you wanted to. And bottom line, and I'm not talking monetarily, I'm talking about the growth of impact that your business can have to the world. And sometimes that's monetarily for individuals, but sometimes it's truly just about giving back. I'm a light giver. We don't charge for that. But if I can give light to a lot of people around the world, that's wonderful because that's giving back in abundance. And that's where my bottom line is giving that joy and abundance to people.
Yeah, beautifully said. So what is Scrum and Six Sigma?
What is all that stuff? So
Yeah,
here's
what is it?
so here's what's funny. So I am 50% left brain, 50% right brain. So I am a process geek at heart. So Scrum is about being agile. So for project management, there's two different ways that you can look at it. One is called waterfall and one is called agile. And so Scrum is the practice of agile where you basically release certain pieces of the process in 2 week or 3 week increments and then test it out and make sure it works. And then you keep releasing it. Whereas waterfall is truly about doing all the work behind the scenes, then doing a big release. IBM was a big proponent of doing waterfall because they would do all the work behind the scenes and then release it. Six Sigma is actually the building or re-engineering of processes. So you find all of those gaps and you make sure that you basically have the shortest point from point A to point B, but keeping quality at a high level. So it's all about that. So here I am building processes, right? And doing all of this. And I use this for strategic planning, but then I base it all in this sense of values and gratitude. And businesses are just like, wait, what are we doing? But it works because you find all of these points for which you can then build in gratitude, whether it's to job descriptions. Job descriptions is one place that all the time, as we are re-engineering, roles and responsibilities change. And so then it's like, okay, well, how are you building in your core values to this? How are you building and celebrating all the work that you've done? How are you building in this sense of gratitude that people can feel this joy when they walk in the building? How do you want them to feel? And when you start talking about that with large organizations, it starts to change things. When you talk about it with small organizations, it changes things. So it's just a matter of how quickly you can change, but you can do it. It's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, no, that's really good that you can do that. And of course, once you start making that changes, it leaks out, into the
Yeah.
wider community, into the wider business, into more people's lives.
Yes, it really does. And again, with businesses, that's why some businesses, people just want to work for them. Don't necessarily know why. They just know that retention rates stay higher. People love going there. They're treated right. And this is where you start seeing changes like There's no PTO bucket. It's really take the time off that you need when you need it. That's a really big deal. And especially, so I live in the US, and especially in the US, where most companies will give their employees 2 weeks off. Well, that 2 weeks really doesn't do a whole lot to refresh and rejuvenate, much less time with your family and friends. So, when you start seeing companies look at things differently and say, we know you're going to get the work done, you're a professional, you take the time off when you need it, and as long as the work gets done, we're good. That's huge, but that's a major shift. But think about the gratitude that those employees are going to have and look at things differently and be loyal to that company. And the company in turn, they're just being looked at differently. So again, it just resonates all around of just how this sense can just change. And then all of a sudden, other companies start doing it because they want to be like this company over here where they're doing really well, and they look at the why. So you have to start with why and kind of work backwards.
Yeah, and the more companies that do that, the better, and even, and if small, and it could even, small businesses start doing that, then the bigger
Mm-hmm.
businesses will actually start looking. Oh, hold on, those smaller businesses doing rather well. Why is this?
Mm-hmm.
And oh yeah, let's look at that and see how we can do that. And again, it has a wider impact on the world itself.
Mm-hmm. It really does. And, I think the other thing too, and again, I think we saw this a lot during the pandemic, but people have to innovate differently. And what I started seeing is a lot of partnerships among small businesses, because one small business might really execute well in remote and working from home, and another one might work really well in training. And so the two of them, if they partner together, they're a powerhouse for at least who their clients are. And then guess what? Let's hope that when pandemic decides to, move to the other side of pandemic, that they still continue to partner because they have both understood that this partnership is actually bigger than them individually. And how beautiful is that? And what can that turn into? And how can you innovate from there and move things forward? It's really exciting, I think. And again, the three things from my perspective, just from the pandemic, and I said this at the very beginning: communication, innovation, and actually how Earth has changed from pandemic, because we've innovated differently. We've had to learn how to communicate differently because we actually have to talk to people and not just continuously move in our lens and move forward. We have to communicate in a different way. And our Earth has started healing because we haven't been taking advantage of it. And I just hope that we continue to resonate and live in that spirit when we move forward.
Yeah, yeah, totally. In 2022, as I've been saying, and what I've been guided is a year of collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
It's a year of people working together, small businesses working together, same therapists are working together, different therapists working together, creating, new spheres of healing, of energy,
Mm-hmm.
and businesses collaborating that might be opposite ends, but they can both bring something in. So yeah, it's going to be a good thing, and as Graham says, small businesses become a collective organism.
Mm-hmm. And yes, and I think I've also seen small masterminds pop up more than ever before. And I've always known about them, but it's very interesting that sometimes they're really pointed toward certain industries or certain themes of what people might be experiencing and how to navigate as a collective moving forward. And I agree with that. That I'm starting to really see that across the board. And it's not even just small businesses. I'm seeing it in larger, mid-size and larger businesses now as well, where there's one that they have this collective underground. And so it's CEOs and C-suite individuals of very large companies that are having real authentic conversations that they might not be able to have in the workplace because they're struggling too. But yet, because of optics, they have to look at things a little bit differently of how they're leading. And so it's having those real conversations. It's pretty amazing to be a fly on the wall for some of those conversations.
Yeah, totally. And Graham says, light workers uniting. Yeah,
Mhm.
totally, totally. So, where did the idea of coming to be an author of a book spark in your business, Nine Steps of Gratitude?
So I've been a writer my entire life. I was a published poet at 15. It is my superpower. Writing just is my superpower, and I love it. And I always thought that my first book would be my autobiography because I just thought it would be. And then I realized that at the end of the day, that can come later. And what I really want and what I hope is that businesses understand just how powerful gratitude can be. And because I do have the background that I do in the process piece, it's something that they need to hear. And I just honestly, I just listened to the universe because trust me, it was all going in a very different direction. And the universe was like, no, no, we're gonna do this over here. And so I literally just it all just kind of flowed out of me, and I'm really excited about it because these 9 steps work. I've watched it work over and over again. It can change businesses and change lives of the people in the businesses, and you can also use it for personal should you want to. So to me, that's the gift that I'm supposed to bring forward right now, and I'm excited about it. And you never know what will come next of this, but it's been an exciting road.
Yeah, and Susan said, yeah, that would be amazing if businesses realised this, and it totally would. And Graham says, yeah, he's not published yet.
Oh no, but well, I it will be. I already there's dates coming. Then
Cool.
that'll be in the near future. So yes, yeah.
It's all exciting stuff coming up.
It is. It is. So, yeah, and I purposefully waited till 2022. Again, just more from I think there's a lot of reasons that go into that, but along with rebranding, and 2022 marks some pivotal things in my own life. And my I do a word for every year, and so my word next year, it's accomplish is my word for 2022. So it just tied in. So
Yeah,
that's yeah, it ties
yeah,
in. So that's why I'm
yeah.
that's why I waited.
So those 9 steps, what you actually use when you're working with clients.
hmm Um, it does start off with so it just takes the word gratitude, and we work through. And so the first is grounding yourself. The second is being reflective. And ultimately, we go through these 9 steps. So you're taking the moments to really look inward and seeing what has brought you to the place that you're at, whether it's personal or business, and then taking time to really celebrate that and be grateful for it, understanding that from there, as you're building out your plan to move forward, you're going to pick up those rocks in your garden, and there's going to be slugs underneath, and you're going to remember stuff. And you just have to clean them and polish them. And then you keep moving forward until ultimately you emerge into the next version, whether it's 2.0 or 10.0 version of yourself. And again, it's just how do you navigate those steps to move through all of those.
Yeah, absolutely perfect, said. So, as you know, I do guided meditations and I do angel oracle cards. And each week, I like to ask my guests what they would like me to do. So, Lisa, would you like me to do a mini guided meditation or pull an angel oracle card for yourself and those watching?
Oh, please, an angel oracle card, Ray.
Oh, look, I've got them in my hand.
Oh, I'm shocked.
Amazing, that isn't it? Okay, so let's see what the cards have got to say. And of course, as most of you will know, when I do the cards, I do it. I read the cards for what you need to know in your present time.
Mhm.
Which, even though I work with past life regression, we go into the past to heal the past so it doesn't affect you in the present. And when we go into the future, we see what your future is. So you know what it is. So when you come back to the present, you're not worried about it. And so you're always totally in the present. And quite often, the cards were a confirmation of what you already know. So let's see what Lisa and everyone watching this needs to know for their highest good at this moment in time. Just Lisa and everyone who's watching this need to know for their highest good. No. Okay. Sorry, Graham, no one card jumping out today. Perfect card. Wondrous universe. Walk in beauty.
Oh, I love it.
Isn't that perfect for
Oh, it's
with what we've been
beautiful.
talking about?
Ah, wait, can I take a picture of
Of course you
that?
can.
I love it so much. Thank you.
Ah, you're welcome. So yes, the universe is a wondrous universe, and what this card is saying, both to you, Lisa, and to everyone watching, is to walk in beauty, to walk in that gratitude, in that beauty of life, of the universe, that it brings you everything you want when you're grateful for it, when you're living in the present, in it, you're grounded in it. So literally walk in the beauty of the universe. I mean, Lisa, you're doing that already, and it's saying, "Good, keep doing it." And
Yeah.
if those watching haven't started doing it, it's saying, start walking in the beauty of the universe, in the beauty of yourself. Um, and it's amazing what will happen and what will come to you when you start doing that.
I love that so much. And the reason that I took a picture of that is whenever I pull cards for others, they take pictures. But whenever somebody does it for me, I actually keep them. And so I will actually print this out and actually put it up because I have my wall of cards, because I think, again, it's the message that we're supposed to remember. And when it gets hard sometimes to continue walking in that beauty, it's a nice reminder. Or when it's going well and you're like, am I just crazy? Is this like, are things really this wonderful? The answer is yes. Yes, they are. Yes, they are that wonderful. So thank you.
Yeah.
And what a
Uh,
perfect card.
Yep, and Graham says, be grateful that you are aware that you are you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, totally. So, Lisa, do you have any insights or thoughts to leave our viewers?
I think the one thing that I would highly encourage everybody is to find your time to actually practice gratitude, and find whatever that right time is for you, and also the how you practice it. There are many, many ways to practice it. And, Ray, I know that you talk about some on your show a lot. And you can also take a look at what others are doing out there, whether it's a gratitude journal, whether it's 3 things you're grateful for, whether it's one thing you're grateful for, but take that first step and then take it again and practice it for 30 days and see how you feel at the end of that 30 days. And then do it for another 30 days and see how you feel and how you see the world a little bit differently. But it only takes that first step. So I highly encourage everybody to try it and see what happens.
Absolutely brilliant, brilliant words, Lisa. So thank you. So I hope everyone that you found it insightful, and the words of wisdom that Lisa has given you will help you further on your journey. So Lisa, if people want to connect with you, how do they do that?
Sure, they can go to my website, which is easy, lisacondon.com, and connect with me there. Or you can actually follow me on Facebook, which is Lisa Condon. My business page is Lisa Condon Spark, and you can come and visit me there. I am on Instagram as well, but send me an email. I would love to connect with any of you and have a conversation. And I'd love to hear how you're practicing your gratitude.
Yeah, perfect. And what I will do is I will put all the Lisa's details in a post at the end of the show in the comments, so you can literally just click on to those. And Susan says, "Thank you, Lisa and Ray. Great show again tonight." Thank you, Susan, for joining us and joining in the show. And Jane, beautiful. I started a while ago. Always being grateful at the end of the day, even on a rubbish day. It's lovely. Yeah, totally. And Pamela says, Ray and Lisa, thank you so very much. Grateful for the knowledge to expand our consciousness. Yeah, yeah, I'm so grateful, that I'm able to do this show and have wonderful guests like yourself, Lisa. I've had Susan as a guest, I've had Jane as a guest, I've had Graham as a guest, and I'm so grateful for all the people that I've actually met in doing this show. Since 2018. I've just met so many amazing people. I'm so grateful to every single one of them and everyone who watches. Um, it just feels so good.
I couldn't agree more. And, I'm just grateful that I saw when you were calling out for potential people to come on. And and I know that you don't take everybody. So I'm just so glad and grateful that we were able to connect. Your spirit is so beautiful, Ray. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for offering to come on the show. And in fact, Kim says, I was drawn to find myself a gratitude diary for 2022. It's beautiful. And I can't wait to start, which I will do today. Brilliant, Kim.
Yes.
Again, it's the synchronicities that come in once you start being grateful. Grateful that Susie says she's grateful that she cooked the last bit of the show. Oh, bless you, Jane. We're truly grateful for your guidance. Oh, thank you, Jane, so much. So I hope everyone that you have enjoyed this. And thank you so much, Lisa, for your words of wisdom. And if you have reached a crossroads in your life and you need some guidance and finding the meaning of your life and getting clear on your path, then I would love to be that guide for you. So please feel free to reach out and connect with me, and we can arrange a free 20 to 30-minute video call to help you gain clarity on where you're going and how you can empower yourself to take charge of your destiny. And of course, please feel free to join my weekly newsletter and receive a free Future Life Progression recording where I take you into a future lifetime to gain clarity and insights into stuff that you can use in your current life, as well as a couple of other free gifts. So thank you everyone so much for watching. And I'd like to invite you to share this video, as I'm sure there are many more women who feel lost and want to get clear on their destiny just like you. And of course, if you are watching this on YouTube, then please feel free to subscribe and hit that bell button to be notified when the show goes live or when I post a new guided meditation. And talking of guided meditations, as it is that time, I have posted a winter solstice Yule guided meditation on YouTube to help you celebrate this Yule. So do check that out. And I look forward to seeing you all same time, same place next week. Oh, yep. And I have to remind us, seeing as Graham says, chat tomorrow. Graham and I show tomorrow, Angels and Spirits, will be live 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. EST, where if you come along and you say hello and you ask, we will do a mediumship and a card reading for you. So thank you for reminding me of that, Graham. And Jackie says, thank you. Graham says, thank you, Lisa and Ray. And again, yep, thank you, Lisa, so much for being a guest on my show. And I look forward to seeing everyone same place next week. And yes, there will be a show on the 27th. I know in the UK it's a bank holiday, but I've got a little something special. It's going to be Monday Musings with a few guests. So come and check that out next Monday. Take care, everyone. Bye.